The concept of this composition is to base my track around one chord only, and for that I'm using our Albion Tundra library, an orchestra recorded at the very edge of silence. So if you want to stand out with your orchestral compositions, then this is for you. The players are playing extended techniques at a very low level, and the outcome and the sounds are just extraordinary, and I want to demonstrate this to you in this video. I'm going to show you a little bit the approach of the composition and some tips and tricks in terms of beat mapping as well. But the main goal is to show you some of my favorite sounds of the library. Let me show you how the track sounds. So quite a slow one today. I hope you like it. It's, as said, based around one chord or even one note. As I'm a piano player, I'm using the piano to play it in. I usually start playing my compositions back there on my piano. And then I go onto the computer and start arranging it. And in this case, I wanted to keep the piano in by the ends, and I've used the original's felt piano, which has a lovely tone. I'm just going to play you what I did and explain you. For that, I'm going to use here low latency mode. So I'm not sure whether you guys know this, but if you put low latency mode and if you play stuff in, you can play more accurately. So and it hasn't got any latency. The reason why I have a little bit of latency here is because I have some mastering plugins on there already, like hidden and deactivated. So here this is only the mix, but in the end I would like to play you the piece mixed and mastered, more or less. I might touch it up still, but I'm also running Pro Tools to do this tutorial, so I just want to have no latency here. So felt piano here, I'm using the hammers, the condenser and the ribbon mic all the way up. I've bounced this here in place because I have some external reverb. Here my number 2 is going to an output here, and I have a couple of pedals with reverb set up, and I'm sending it to there, and that's why you see the audio here and not the MIDI. And then I'm using reverb number 1 is my VSS3 large wormhole I don't want to go too deep into the mix in this tutorial, but I'm basically using large wormhole pretty much for all of the sounds. I'm also using mainly the ambient and outrigger microphones. I'm going to show this to you in 1 second. Then I'm using a little bit of Echo Boy here for the piano, just a very subtle delay. You can't really hear it, so it helps with the kind of 3D sounds. Let me just show you what I have in mind. So everything is based around G minor, so I'm playing this G, it's my pulse that is going through, and I played it without a click, and I quite like doing that because it has kind of a human feel to it, and just like just a more emotional touch, in my opinion. So then basically I'm playing this A kind of major 7, but with a 7 in the bass. So I'm keeping this G in the bass. I set myself to always have the G in the bass, and I have quite a few sounds actually laying this note there on the bottom. That's quite a cool sound, this one. Then it goes into a G minor 7. Gives you a little bit of hope. And then this is basically as well a C minor 7, but because the G is on the bottom, you have kind of a sharp 5 kind of note there. And a sus, but I mean, this gives you kind of a sus sound there, a sus 4 basically. So if I wouldn't play the thirds here, but somewhere in the arrangement I have the third in there as well. And then I'm repeating this. And throughout the piece I realized it sounds as if I was in C minor, because I would go. But then right in the end, I'm going here. And it's kind of a G major 7 there. It's G major 7, 9, sus 4 as well. Quite an interesting chord there. And then basically back. So that was my main composition, or my only composition basically, and just based around that. And I played it in as I liked it. So I'm gonna just play you just a little bit here. I'll show you the MIDI information as well. I have a bit of an intro, but basically the same chords, just higher up in the octave and just 2 notes. Right, and so on, exactly what I did. And I like to create a tempo map, so when I have a whole orchestra orchestrating, it's much easier if then all the notes are on the grid. And if I show you here the tempo map, see, so this is kind of my sloppy playing here, so the tempo is all over the shop, but you will find yourself probably doing that quite naturally. As we're not computers, and that's the beauty of it as well. So basically what I did is, here you can see Orchestral piano for tempo map. So I just took my left hand note because I just want to give one information for the beat mapping, otherwise it gets all confused. And then I go here, beat mapping. I have to have this selected, beat mapping, beats from region, and then you can do it by bar or even by quarter note. I did it by quarter note, so as you can see, like all my downbeats basically are with the MIDI information there. So, and it creates this tempo map. And then I have the grid for my whole arrangement, and I can then afterwards I can program things much easier, or have it tied together with the piano. I hope this makes sense. If not, please let me know in the comment section, and I'm happy to help out. So then it gave me this really slow tempo map, but you can go in here. Right click, metronome settings, and then you can click division here if you want to compose something fast. So because this is quite slow. If you have this beat, you know, it's quite hard to find the eighth note. So turn the division on. And it helps you a little bit. I didn't actually really use a click that much because it's such a slow piece, so I didn't really need to have faster notes. The only fast thing I have are here the pits, but I just copied basically my left hand on the piano onto these flutes and pizzicato here. So let's get rid of this. We're starting with kind of one of my favorite sounds. I wanted to really kind of build up the piece using interesting articulations from very airy sounds to, I mean, it never really gets heavy, full-on longs or proper legato. It's always either soft pressure with the bow, playing with the back of the bow, playing over the fretboard, basically, sul tasto. So it gets this very whispery, beautiful and unique sound. And that's how I created my template as well. So I went through the library. Let me take this off so you can hear with the reverb and everything. I went through the library and set myself, or went through all the sounds, and then I chose the ones I liked the most. And I really like this Woodwinds air here. How cool is that? I mean, you get mainly air, but you have a kind of a hint of a note there. Then you have, for example, super air. And then I want to show you some other, I mean, brass super air as well. So it's a very choral quality there, and I absolutely love it. So col legno tratto, the trademark articulation, I would say, from Albion Tundra is when they, as I said, play with the back of the bow, but it's like 60 string players or something like that. Wow, could listen to it for a long time. Harmonic trems just sits absolutely fantastically behind any kind of dialogue. And that's basically how I'm opening my piece with the sounds I've just played to you. And then I'm using one of these sounds here. So if we go into the library, here we can see these SAML presets or bellow pads or jar pads. These are basically warped sounds, and I'm using a couple of those. And I found this proud fat chord is pretty cool. You sometimes have some mod wheel stuff there. Pretty epic. I'm just using this very low G here, and the reason why I bounced it down is because this is tempo synced, so when you turn the gate on, etc., it looks at the tempo, but because I'm changing the tempo every beat, it was doing some glitchy stuff, so I had to basically go into the beginning here and just bounce it down when the tempo wasn't changing, so it didn't get confused. And the same actually with this kind of distant choir here. What I'm doing here is just playing this one note throughout, a G as well. And then this high sound. sounds quite nice to me. Not sure what you guys think. My next section here is the brass, and the woodwinds are basically filling in the gaps and taking melodies from each other. My string section is the heaviest section, so maybe let's just stick to that one for now. And I'm just going to solo this so you can hear a little bit what I'm doing. So you've heard the intro. I'm coming here with the low con legno tratto, back of the bow. Marking these chords there. Basically what I'm doing, so I'm starting with con legno tratto and these trems, the softest sound basically of the strings, and then the no rosin is a little bit of a harsher sound. I mean, it's still not harsh, it's still very soft and gentle, but it's increasing the intensity a little bit. And then further down the line, I'm using the high super sul tasto mixed with the flautando. So if you hold shift, you can actually select a couple of articulations and then they will play both together. And I thought those two together sounded really, really nice. I'm just going to play you a little bit here. I would then go in and program my dynamics and expression here with a mod wheel, or I have the Nano Control 2 in case you're curious. So I bring life into the performance and I address different dynamic layers that we've actually recorded. So the mod wheel that addresses the dynamic layer and the expression is the actual volume. So you want to kind of touch both a little bit and not only like turn the volume up and down. So here I'm doing another little trick. I have high and low strings together, so I have the whole orchestra under my fingertips. So if we go into here, you see how it is divided. So you have brass high, brass low, strings high, strings low. Here I just wanted to have both, because I was just kind of in the middle where the low strings wouldn't go any higher and the high strings wouldn't go any lower. So I just thought I mixed those two up. And again, both articulations together here. And if we just listen to those two articulations, they're taking over a little bit the lead. And they're into the end. And then if we have a listen how they sound together with my other strings here, to all the strings. So I hope you can see well enough kind of my arrangements there and what am I doing with each individual sound to ramp it up as well. And then in the end, I'm using the ricochet sounds here. It's when the player lightly plays all 4 strings and they do this kind of circular or up and down kind of motion. And the sound is something like this. In major as well. Just very beautiful, shimmery kind of sound. Traveling trems up here, just to add this. A little sparkle on top. Now rosin again, I've played this to you already. That's that kind of sound. Low silken kind of consort. Got such a great name. Why would you not want to use this? I am using it for the low notes here. I thought it had a great quality, so it comes in here and it increases slowly here. I am going a little bit with the chord changes, so you can see here my waves, and also increases on intensity and dynamic. So this G note is kind of sitting in with this, if we just have a quick listen, with these sounds here. Cool, so that's my strings. It's basically my main motor of the piece. And then you can hear how I'm using the brass with just kind of little embellishments. I'm just gonna play it to you separately. And I love these, for example, high bursts here, because you just hold the note and the players basically do these pre-recorded phrases and movements within the note, within the sample. So you don't have to do too much, basically. So I'm just using those throughout my brass arrangement. Then accentuating moments as well. Here again, these bursts, really like them. I think it really stands out when they actually do the bursts, and it helps really into transitionings or kind of build-ups as I use it right here in the end. And then for the woodwinds, similar thing. And I love how everything has got this choral quality. It's almost like voices. So all these kind of overblown tones and the shorts there, you can really hear them shine through the whole orchestral arrangement. So especially these overblowns here. Even if you have them on a medium dynamic, they just shine through it quite nicely. Like these multiphonics here as well. Then overblown shorts. Then some low woodwinds. I just want to play them for you separately. Wow, beautiful. Even just with those, it could sound really cool. Then some hollow notes, basically. Very, very beautiful. So the differences are subtle, and I kind of listed it a little bit like that. So from soft tones to more intense notes towards the end of my piece. And then right in the end, where I use my ricochet sounds and the piano very softly, I have some more air basically. So a very unique sound right there, using the traditional orchestral setup, but achieving a very modern touch by having those players playing really extended technique and unusual techniques. So just a quick look onto my mix. I'm routing all the sections separately. So my brass, woodwinds, strings, my synth section basically, and they come up here. So I can balance this all out, and I send some master reverb onto these sections. I will probably work a little bit more on the mix right now, then also master it. So please check the whole mixed and mastered piece in the section down below. If you have any questions, please let me know as well, and we're happy to help. And I also hope that you're safe and well. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I'm going to play you the whole piece one more time. Bye bye.